Hi guys, welcome to, the first video on the, Chessmatician channel, and, before I get into what this video is actually going to be about, I'd like to, kind of explain what this channel really, is, and, so what this channel is going to be, dedicated to is, me learning chess, math, history, science, and anything else that I'm really interested in, and trying to help some of you guys understand it as well. And while I'm probably, most advanced at math, I'd like to, I think that in the other subjects as well, it would be really helpful if we could kind of learn from each other, and maybe in the future develop into more of a community. And I think that students actually tend to learn very well from other students, and the process of education is really, really important in almost everything. So that being said, there's a little brief overview of some general themes that you're going to see across the channel, and I have some series planned already. But for the first video, I thought we'd go over a game I played recently. It's actually a blitz game. I don't think most of the games I'm going to go over of myself are going to be blitz games, but it's against National Master Evan Rabin, sorry, and he actually runs the Premier Chess educational, kind of chess program. I really recommend it. This was played at his virtual camp, as I help out as a counselor there. So I think we'll hop into it. I was black in this game, and he was white. I'd like to note I made several mistakes in this game, as I did, as I'm going to do throughout all these games. But I think we can learn together from these mistakes, and you guys can all follow me on the road to improvement, especially in chess. So Evan, he started with e4, and I responded with c5. So I'm a Sicilian player, and you're going to see a lot of Sicilian games across the channel. So knight f3, played the open line, and obviously that's probably the best way for white to fight for an advantage. But knight c3 is also common here. There's the Bowdler, and other than that, those are the only real moves here. So d6, some people prefer knight c6, but I'm a d6 guy. So takes, all standard stuff. And I went for the dragon. This is my my main defense against e4 as black. And I thought that especially against someone who's much more skilled than me if you look at the ratings. Obviously Evan's 2,200, and I'm only a 1363 blitz. Obviously these ratings are a little skewed, but he's a much stronger player, so I would have played this even if it was against a lower rated player, but it even makes sense. When you're playing a stronger player, you want to go for complicated positions that you might be able to best your opponent in. Yeah, so I went for the dragon, which is a very sharp line, and Evan went for the conventional bishop e3 here, which is usually indicative of a Yugoslav attack, which will start after I play bishop g7 and he plays f3. So this bishop's obviously very important in the dragon. And f3 prevents any future knight g4 ideas. But here actually it's important to note that that knight g4 is actually a huge blunder. And I think it's a very classic kind of teaching point in the dragon. If you want to pause and try and find it, most of you probably know it. So if you're done thinking, you probably discover that the move is bishop e5 check. And this wins a piece because obviously if you block with the bishop, it's pinned. So queen takes, and you can't take back, obviously. And if knight blocks here on knight bd7, you just take the knight again. And if knight c6, you basically just win a piece or an exchange and a pawn, because I mean, I would honestly probably take back here just to avoid any discoveries in the future, but it's just terrible either way. Because if you take check, and that's a pawn in an exchange, and black's losing here. But I did not play that. I played bishop g7. He played f3, because now, if he doesn't play f3, knight g4 is possible because of king f8 after the check. And this is just very positionally good. So castles after f3. This is all pretty standard. And after queen d2, I played knight c6, which is the main move. And sometimes people play here instead, in this position. But I played knight c6, and a lot of the time, what I mostly see, and what's most common at the master level, is bishop c4 here. And usually I just play bishop d7, you know, after castles, queenside, or maybe some other moves. I'll bring my rook to c8, my knight to e5, and then bring it to c4 and force him to exchange his light square bishop. But Evan actually played castles here, and that's this is an interesting line. And the purpose of the move knight c6, which I actually forgot to cover, it's preparing a move, which is d5. Sorry, that's the wrong arrow. D5, because now the e5 square is sufficiently covered, which prevents any ideas of e5 really annoying our knight and then kind of closing down this bishop. So after castles, I continue with my plan, play d5, and you know, he takes, I takes here, you know, maybe preparing to take here, but you know, if we continue with this line, black's fine here. After you, apparently, it seems like you've sacked a rook, but you really don't have to, because of after queen takes a8, you've got checkmate threats, which forces this taking with check. You know, as you can see, the queen can't defend this square, and you know, obviously, if you make a regular defensive move, we just take the queen. So Evan didn't go in for this. Oh, before I continue with the game, this is pretty common. I've seen this in a couple Grandmaster games in the database. Okay, so after takes, Evan played bishop d4, and I played e5, which is the main move. He continued with. Wait, did I? Sorry about that. Yeah, bishop d4, e5, and you know, you could move the rook here. But the main move is actually bishop e6, which is what I played. And just to confirm, you know, obviously, I'll tell you that whichever way you take, white just has, black just has a lot of activity, and this is better for black. But if you need proof, I'll turn on the engine, and black's better. Sorry, and yeah. So black's better. So Evan did not play that. He attacked my knight. And I played a move that he actually initially thought was a bad move for me. But I took time. Or did I take time? Yeah, I took 30 seconds. And it's a blitz game. So, you know, that's sufficient. And Yeah, so I played knight takes e3, and after queen takes, I played queen g5 check. And there's a couple games in the database like this. I didn't really know this as theory. I've actually focused a little bit too much on openings, and that's something I'd emphasize people not to do, just from personal experience in the future. So after I played queen g5 check, he blocked with the bishop, and I took a free pawn. He took back. He took my bishop on e6, took back, and he grabbed this pawn here. Now, I'm confused as to... Oh, I didn't like any discoveries, but that doesn't work. I'm confused. I think, in hindsight, just taking here would be better. Oh, sorry, that's a misclick. I mean, taking here would probably be best. But I played there. Brings his rook to the g file. And I did not take this pawn. So as you can see, I made a lot of mistakes, and that's going to be a trend you're going to really observe in my games, which is I do not play ideally whatsoever. Sometimes I'll ignore things, and I think this is a really psychological game, in that, so he has 20 seconds, because he berserked, as this was played in a tournament. As you can see, it's kind of a funny little name, as the kids at the camp named it that way. So I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna flag Evan. I'm gonna, you know, make him lose on time. But, instead of trying to flag him, I should have recognized that, you know, this is a fine position for me. In that it's a really sharp position, and I was able to get an equal or slightly advantageous position. And I should have kind of, you know, used that as motivation. And I thought, well, he doesn't have time left. Let's just play some moves, and he'll run out of time. But this was actually a severe mistake, in that he has a majority here. I have these double pawns, and over at Premier Chess, this bishop's not great. And this would indicate, you know, this bishop's not great, you would want to trade. It's actually not the case. Trading's bad just because these pawns are so weak, so you would think, oh, yeah, trade, bad pawn structure. But again, this king's going to be more active. These pawns are just going to push up the board, use the majority, and it's going to be winning. And I should have used the phrase that we know, which is all rook and pawn endgames are drawn, which is not obvious. It's obviously not the case, but a draw is much more common. And in this position, I should be happy with the draw. And also, I'm hanging this pawn. Forgot to mention, which is a blunder. But additionally, I wouldn't want to simplify if I was continuing my plan of running Evan out of time, because you know, a more complicated position with more pieces on the board would require him to kind of think more until we enter into this kind of simple king and pawn endgame, in which I kind of lost. I think White's already much better after the trade, and my king just fails to gain significant activity, and maybe I should have done better to push my majority on the king side. But I think even here I'm completely lost. We'll consult the engine, even though, yeah, this is winning for White, and it's been winning for White for a long time. Yeah, and I think honestly the trading was the critical mistake in this game, and I think it's a really important lesson, because trading becomes kind of second nature to a lot of players, in that you trade and you don't necessarily understand why you're trading. And I think that's probably something that, if I improve, it'll help me reach a higher level. You know, maybe take the leap from intermediate to advanced in terms of chess. So, continuing, and he gets a quick mate in the end game. So, yeah, I mean, that's the game. But if we go back, I mean, oh, let me turn the engine off. Sorry, that's a mistake. If we continue, I played logical moves, got a fine position, but I kind of started to play illogically and irrationally in this portion of the game, and I should have picked up these pawns and gotten a better position, but I lost the game by just trying to play quietly. And as I mentioned earlier, that's not what you want to do against a much stronger player, because the stronger player is always going to be better at you know, slow positional chess. It's likely they're more experienced, have studied the game more. So you don't want to get a slow positional game against such a strong player. You want to get a fast, dynamic position, which I had. I had a dynamic position here, and this is good for me. This trade is fine, and I like this check. I'm kind of taking the initiative, and I win a pawn. Well, win back a pawn, and yeah, I kind of played very passively and just played moves, not really being careful about each move, which I could have done because I had more time. And I tried to make Evan lose on time, which was clearly a mistake. And he just, you know, was able to blitz out moves fast enough to mate me. And I mean, obviously it's winning even if there's not this cheeky mate here. But yeah, I think that the key takeaways is, even if you're comfortable with the position, continue to you know, maintain vigilance and, you know, play the game that you want to play despite the results that are, you know, continuing to plague you, or at least the way that the game is going. And always just look for opportunities, because I missed some very good ones. So yeah, how about I think this is the end of the first video of the Chessmatician channel, and you know, I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Probably talking to no one right now. With some math, science, and history videos, as well as some more chess videos. Might actually have a series coming on openings, actually, because that's something I've studied a lot. Alright, so thanks guys, I'm gonna end the recording now. Hope you have a great rest of your day.